Australian Heritage, Text 1, Searching for Roots. Kate Grenville grew up in Australia, where having a convict ancestor was known as the taint. Years later, she came to London to uncover the truth about her great-great-great-grandfather. I'd always known there was a convict in the family. My mother had often talked about her great-great-grandfather, Solomon Wiseman, transported to Australia in 1806. The story Mom had heard was that Solomon Wiseman had worked on the docks in London, and for an offence we don't know about, he was sent to Australia as a convict. Having a convict ancestor is quite the thing in Australia now. There's even a society for descendants of the very first ones, the first fleeters. The aristocracy of convicts is a perverse kind of prestige. When I was growing up in the 60s, though, it was nothing to be proud of. The index cards in the state library were regularly thinned out by people who surreptitiously ripped out the card that proved their convict ancestry. Having a convict in the family was called the taint. There was even a suspicion that it might be hereditary defect. So it took me a long time to go looking for more about Solomon. The push came during the Walk for Reconciliation in 2001, when hundreds of thousands of people walked across the Sydney Harbour Bridge as a gesture of acknowledgement of the wrongs that had been done to the Aboriginal people. I walked with everyone else in a cozy fog of self-righteousness until I met the eye of an Aboriginal woman watching us walk. We exchanged smiles. It was a warm moment. But then a thought occurred to me that gave me a chill. This woman's ancestor had been here in 1806, and so had mine. It was possible that they had met. What kind of meeting would it have been? Mom's story had included the fact that Solomon, after being freed, had taken up land, as the phrase went, not far from Sydney. And to my shame, I had never thought about what this really meant. That my ancestor had simply taken land that had been the home to Aboriginal people for some 40,000 years. Did Solomon, like so many of the early settlers, carry a rifle with which to disperse them? It became a very urgent need to know what kind of man he had been and how he might have dealt with the local Darug tribe.